Hi, I'm Nigel Barker. I'm a photographer and filmmaker, and I work on that show, America's Next Top Model, as one of the judges. Well, I use my photography and my filmmaking skills to tell stories and obviously calls to action all the time. In fact, I like to think that in many respects, a photograph or a film is more powerful than the spoken word. When you take a photograph, it's up to the viewer to make their mind up about what they're seeing. Now, one thing you never want to be is ignored. But as a filmmaker and as a photographer, you want people to sit up, take notice, and if you've done your job well, take action. Truly, I believe that it's the human story that we react to most of all. Always concentrate on finding those great characters. Try and create a relationship. Also know your subject. Talk to their children, or take some interest in your surroundings versus just storming in with your camera and sort of commando style thinking, oh, I'm going to grab the shot. So when you're taking pictures or making films in different parts of the world, obviously there are different ways to approach any given situation, but I always think it's best to sort of learn about the local culture, the local customs and traditions, and obviously respect them. So, for example, if you're going to be filming in Morocco or an Arab country, you want to be able to make sure that if you're going into a mosque that you remember that you're going to have to take your shoes off, or that you're going to need to cover your head, or you don't want your arms to be showing your bare legs, because obviously you want to respect the customs. But another thing you want to do is you don't want to draw too much attention to yourself. As a filmmaker, you want to sort of be able to become one with your environment to some extent, and that also means the people. Obviously, photographing an animal is quite different to photographing a human. Although, I've got to say, when you're photographing these little animals, they are very similar. They do often react to very similar approaches, inasmuch if you talk to someone in a kind and a soft voice, even if you smile and you approach them straight on, not creep up behind them or surprise them, you get the same reaction, just as you would from a human. And so, when I approached my subjects, my little seals, I didn't kind of storm them from the side and try and capture that shot for a moment. We would sit there and talk to them, and one or two of them would come up, and precocious little animals, and look at you and bark and say, huh, what? And other ones would hide behind their mother and, cower. When I approach any subject, I just try to do it with passion and with love, and it's always about creating that relationship, no matter who the subject, no matter what the subject, no matter where the subject. So as the photographer or filmmaker, is it your responsibility to jump in and stop what you see? If you see something or you witness something you don't like? Well, if it was me, yes, is the answer. But everyone does their own thing, and there are photographers out there that like to just be voyeurs and witness what they see. And I think if you are a photojournalist, there's an element where that is something that you have to do. You just have to be on the sidelines, and if you step in and you overstep your boundaries, that one, you may not get invited back again, and two, you're going to ruin the picture or ruin your trust with the person you're trying to capture the image of. Just as falling in love with someone is a risk because you're risking your heart. The same way in life, when you're passionate about your job or you're passionate about what you do, you push boundaries, and you need to do that in order to inspire not just the viewer but yourself, regardless of whether I'm shooting a seal on the ice or whether we are in a pediatrics AIDS clinic. If you go in with the right heart and a bit of sensibility about what you're doing, the chances are that you're going to be all right, and more than that, you're going to get a story out that can change the life of many, many people, and I think it's worth it, if you do it carefully.